Hey guys, welcome to the But Mostly Disney podcast. That's my But Mostly Disney voice that I start every show with and then talk like a regular person. I'm not sure why. Tonight we got double the fun. Two Andrews. Andrew Milan is here from South Carolina.
Yep.
How's it? How are you doing down there?
Not bad. We had a little fake fall. We had some 60-degree weather, but today's back to good old sweaty Charleston weather. And like I said earlier, it's a little bit of a manic Monday, but hey, get a little downtime, hang out with you guys tonight for an hour, and close out the evening. So looking forward to what Mr. Prince has to say about cruising and everything else Disney.
Well, and that's a perfect segue into our guest tonight, my buddy Andrew Prince, who, funnily enough, I've actually met in person. So we went on a cruise together. How are you doing, Andrew?
Good.
I just realized I spelled your name wrong. Always. Anything I try to do quickly just falls apart so poorly. We're going to fix it live. We're going to see how well I can do this while I'm talking. Yeah, that's exactly right. Oh, boy. So, Andrew, tell us a little bit about your kind of Disney origin story and how you became the Disney fan you are.
Well, my mom brought home a cassette tape of Mary Poppins. I kept listening to it on repeat, and she was like, I better show him the movie. And my sister was like, is that the only movie we have? Because I kept repeating and repeating and repeating the same VHS tape.
Which is kind of how I live my life now.
Oh, me as well. I watch the same thing over and over again.
So Mary Poppins started it all for you, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And how old were you when that?
1.5.
I love it. I'm doing this. I'm titling this Andrew spelled right. I spent a lot of time making sure I spelled accessible right. I figured that would be the one that would give me the trouble. And then look at me. I'm a mess. Karen is right. I saw it down there. Karen's right. She wasn't there to spell check. And she's definitely won the last 30 days. Yes, that definitely counts. But I don't think I get... Oh, is accessible spelled wrong too? Wow. You guys are really getting the treatment here. But I thought I pulled that right off the site. This is good. This is good podcasting, guys. This is what you live for. ACCESSIBLE. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
I missed an S. Okay, that's my fault. Good. See, I lean into my flaws. That's what I've just decided. Because otherwise, there's just no point. And I met Andrew and his mom on a Disney cruise, on the inaugural cruise on The Wish, which was a pretty incredible time. How many cruises have you been on, Andrew?
26.
Oh my gosh.
26 cruises for me. 33 for my mom.
33. Wow.
So it's like,
All Disney. I've been on 4.
You've been on 4?
Yeah.
I've been on 1. I've been on the one cruise with Andrew, and that was it. It was so perfect. I didn't want to go back. And your last cruise was in October, correct?
no. February.
Oh, February. That's right. I did know that, actually. But you're working on your video for October at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how far backlog I am.
What ship were you on in February?
The Treasure.
How was that?
Nice.
Good. I did also the maiden voyage.
Wow. Was it a group cruise or did you guys just go?
we just went, and then we came back for the group
So you've been on the treasure twice?
twice, yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Doing the same for the Destiny. So it's fun.
So what's your favorite ship?
It depends on if you're talking new ship or old ship.
Oh, well, that's true. Well, so if I had to guess, I would imagine the treasure is your favorite new ship.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your favorite old ship?
The Magic.
Magic. And that was the original one, right?
No, the one that was Magic is the original.
Okay.
I
So-
have it.
I don't have a frame of reference because I've only been on the Wish and only the one time. So I'm not the best person to ask about cruises. However, I know the one we went on was pretty incredible. And look, every week I feel like we just sit here and advertise for Lou Mangello and WDW Radio, but that's what we got. So we just keep leaning into it. And that's how I met Andrew and his mom is we signed up. And gosh, that was was that 2020?
2022.
22, right. Because my daughter graduated from high school that year. And which, by the way, they started at Pixar today.
Oh, cool.
Just to brag a little
How's
bit.
she liking it?
So far, it's incredible. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And they're sending me all these pictures that I can't share with anyone. So like, they keep sending me photos, and I'm like, oh, I want to post it so bad. I want to show somebody, but I'm not sure what I'm allowed to and what they're allowed to do. So it's a little tough. It's driving me crazy, and they've only been there less than, 1 day. So what time? It's 3 hours back. So they're just getting ready to get off work, and I can't wait to hear how their day went. But I did get a nice picture of them in front of the Pixar gate going in.
That's cool.
But for their graduation, we booked the group cruise, and then it got postponed because the ship wasn't done, and they gave us a nice discount. And then we went in August, and it was wonderful. And that was the first time I met Andrew, and the only time, I guess. And then Karen says they were on the Magic with Andrew. So everyone has cruised with Andrew at some point in time. But when you've done 26, it's going to be hard not to find Andrew on a ship. When's your next one?
The Destiny. October. Magic October.
Oh, wow.
Then the Wish, then the Destiny.
Oh, my God.
I can't even keep it straight.
Well, you got a good secretary there, someone to keep you going. Your mom keeps it lined up. So a lot of people, not me, complained about the Wish and didn't like the floor plan as much, but obviously you're going back on it. So you must like it. Pretty well.
Well, for accessibility, it's kind of iffy. So that's why I go back to see if they improved it.
Right.
To see they improved. Now that the treasure's out.
So is the treasure, did they make improvements going from the Wish to the treasure? Is the treasure better than the Wish for accessibility?
Yes. On some things.
I remember, and it was such a lovely memory of you getting to be on that stage in the center area because they had that lift right there, and you getting to kind of dance around up there, which I thought was cool. I thought that was a lot of fun. And so, which is not a bad segue, I guess, so Andrew has a YouTube channel. And if you're watching live, you can see his link down there. It'll take you to all his stuff. But his YouTube channel is now called Accessible Adventures with Andrew. I put by Andrew there. I changed it in the new one. It's coming. It's just loading slowly. And so tell us a little bit about your channel, Andrew.
Well, it used to be just my name where I would like stick random stuff, and I was like, I want to rebrand because of all the adventure blogs and stuff that I have in the pipeline. So what? It's so that's why I gave you the link tree instead of the YouTube URLs still / Andrew Prince, because I didn't want to change that. Plus I'm in a wheelchair 24/7, and I wanted to share my adventures as an accessible person.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's such a great like niche, right? And that's the secret, I think, to YouTubing. I think that's like, I'm really enjoying the podcast, and I've never planned to do a podcast. It had never been something I thought I would do. It was really just advice again from Lou. Hey, you should do this. And I had no plans to. And I've really enjoyed it because it gives me a spot each week. However, there is more to us, even though I think non-Disney people think that's all we do is sit around and talk about Disney, but it's not. We do other things. I love golf. I have a lot of interests, maybe just golf and Disney, but still. And we end up going, different places and doing different things. And if you are labeled just Disney, that's why I picked my name, but mostly Disney. That way, if I do a video on Key West, then it still fits into what we're doing.
Yeah.
And do you get a lot of people reaching out to you who want to know about the accessibility on these ships?
Sometimes. Especially with the group cruises. Like Mary Wells she reaches out a lot.
That's awesome.
It's cool.
Other people.
Well, and I mean, and look, hey, Matthew, what's up, buddy? Matthew Woolery's here, who also has an incredible Married to a Disney Addict podcast you should definitely check out. It's the problem is someone like me can't answer those questions effectively, right? Like I can read all the details and I can tell you what it has and I can, and you can list everything out, but until you've experienced it. And for those of you who aren't watching, if you're listening to audio later, Andrew's in a wheelchair. And so, maneuvering around a ship, a little bit different than for the rest of us. Right. And I hope I'm saying this right, but Disney's really doing a lot, right? I mean, they're trying pretty hard to make it so that everyone can come. Am I correct there?
Yes. They even have a team of accessibility engineers.
And I love that.
That's awesome.
And also with cruising, like they've really improved their private island over the years. And I do feel that they listen to your suggestions.
Yeah.
I've been saying for years, please put sand mats down on the island so we can get closer to the water.
And guess what they did?
Yep, and now there's sand mats. It's not just us, but if everybody keeps saying we need this, and they have like a little nice patio area for wheelchairs so you can just roll and be able to go on a lounge chair, or I could go on a lounge chair and Andrew could be there instead of just staying at the bars or where we can actually roll to because we don't like their sand wheelchairs. So they do listen and adapt things. It just takes a lot of time for Disney to do things.
Yeah. And a lot of reminders too.
Yeah. And also with Andrew, I know some travel agents, especially from MEI who know Andrew, do reach out to him and ask questions for some of their clients. So, either like about the staterooms or islands or port adventures and different things. So he's been a good resource for a lot of people on how things work. Because like you said, you don't know because it's not something you deal with. Yeah.
And I mean, well, it makes my heart happy to hear that, right? I'm glad that Disney keeps improving. Are they retrofitting the ships? Like, are they going back to the Magic and the Wonder?
Sometimes.
And adding new stuff in?
Well, and no, because they've all been pretty compliant already. Like, even to get into the theaters, they've already had that in place. We go through secret doors that the normal public can't get to, like to get into the theater, to get down to the lower level. So for the first 4 ships, we had to go in through a bar, and sometimes you had to take a little elevator down that they use for the theater. So you're going through watertight, airtight doors to get to
secret entrances.
Yeah, that they have to call up to the bridge. The bridge has a lot. I mean, it's a lot of steps. And then when they did the Wish class, now there's a nice entrance, and I believe that's where they take concierge in through to pick their seats. So you just go down to the level, and you don't have to go through the airtight doors and elevators. And so they've improved that aspect for us, because it was hard to get into a theater instead of just being up in the balcony, which isn't the best place to be. You want to be in the middle row so you can see it clearly. So, and then, like you mentioned, when Andrew was up on the stage on the Wish, they have, it looks like a staircase, but it's actually a lift staircase. So they bring it down, it flattens, it lifts back up, brings him on the stage, and then when he's off, it goes back into a stair form. So most people probably don't even know it's there.
Right.
Yeah. And then they also have lifts going up to, did you walk on deck 4? How now you have to go to deck 4, deck 5, deck 6, up to the front of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lift there for wheelchairs.
But it's not, I can't see anything from 6.
Once he's up there, he can't see over the railing because it has to be compliant so nobody can fall over. But
right.
But they do have a lift, but you have to make arrangements with guest services in order to have a crew member come and do all the key work and get you up onto this, up these step things. But it's a little chair lift. They have it in the back in the cove area for the adults. They can put any in the deeper pools. They do have the chair lifts just like at the resorts, because they have to by. Well, not, technically maybe not, because they're not run out of the United States, but they are Disney.
Oh, right.
The chair lifts, but you have to make arrangements for that ahead of time. So.
Well, and it seems like the country's. So I lived in Florida in the 90s, and we built a restaurant in Daytona, and there were a lot of ADA requirements that we had. Like, we had to have a ramp up to the stage, whether someone was, and we kept it in 3 pieces outside, and you couldn't have a 2-story building that didn't have an elevator. So it seems like and obviously I don't follow it closely, but it seems like Florida in particular really has been ahead of the game, because that was 30 years ago, and they were really making sure that it was accessible.
Yeah. Well, I think the Americans with Disability Act went into play in maybe the late 80s or something like that. So they were probably on top of it more. Plus, they're a little flatter surfaces, so it might be easier for them. But inside, it's different. And then you also have the older population in Florida, so they're probably watching out for all those people.
Well, that's true. Yeah. So, do you think the cruise ships are easier than the parks? Are the parks pretty well accessible? I mean, for you guys, is it?
I like cruising. I love the parks. Don't get me wrong. I've been going since 1971, but. Some of the rides he cannot get on, which could easily be accessible, but they don't make it accessible. Or, the vehicles are not accessible.
And I can't remember if it was in one of our nation calls or whatever, but I remember Andrew saying that with Muppets going away, that was something that was easy for him to enjoy. And now they're making, if you want some Muppets, it's got to be a roller coaster, at least for now.
Yep.
Right. Which he's not going to get on. Which is a bummer.
I can get him on Guardians, but we had an issue on that where they usually bring us back to the side, because I can only lift him from one side. It's just how I can do it. And they actually brought our vehicle back on the opposite side. And I was like, well, this isn't going to work, because I am on the opposite side of him. I'm on the inside, and I need to be, and even if I climbed over, I didn't know if I could pick him up physically.
Right.
They're not allowed to help at all with getting him on or off.
Yeah.
I said, well, if I can step him off slowly, but could you at least move his feet for me? Because that's what's going to get hooked up on the little, it has a swing away door and everything, but if you can't physically get his long body off, where the other way it was a lot easier for me, just how my muscles are after all these years of lifting him. So then they wanted to call the emergency squad. I'm like, no, we don't need EMS to come and help me do this. I just need you to move his feet. Meanwhile, the ride is down because I can't get him off, and they wouldn't send us back through, because some rides will send you back through. But however Guardian did, they could not do it. You go through this black hole thing, and I don't know what happens in that, but they're like, we cannot send people like that. So, yeah. So we always have to make sure we say, I need to come back to the side I was launched on. And they can do it. They just didn't do it on, because he's been on it like 5 times, but that was the worst. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Tron has the same, almost the same. They have a back seat, so.
Yeah, you can ride the back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But we can only get on going on one side. They have 2 launch areas. We have to make sure we're on the right side so I can lift him. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you my
number. It's like a psychological thing.
You can call me. I will meet you there. If only there was anyone who would come. Yeah. It is funny how, like, I hadn't thought about that, but how, I feel like sometimes a lot of common sense goes out the window for a lot of stuff anyway. Like, could you just move his feet? If you could just, it is an interesting dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
But and I can't do Alice in Wonderland anymore.
Oh yeah, at Alice in Wonderland and at Disneyland, he slid off the seat, and we had to actually get some other park guests to come and help. Like a mom stepped up. I'm like, no, I need you to go find me a big dad to help me get him off.
Right,
he slid right off the seat when we were on it. I was like, shoot. So it's always a challenge.
But you seem
but
to
he does have
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, he has an Imagineer friend who's very high up in the company who we meet with.
That's why I can't.
Yeah, he can't see who it is. But one time he was like looking at Andrew's chair. I think it was when they were opening Ratatouille and Epcot. And he's like, well, that's not the chair we're measuring when we make these vehicles. He goes, but we need to start measuring these types of chairs instead of just a transport chair. So fortunately, Andrew was able to get on Ratatouille, but yeah. They just don't, it's different, like I never would have thought where to put a button to get into a door or something if you can't reach it with a wheelchair. So. Right.
But I've never seen Andrew angry, in all the times I've seen him live or anything else. I mean, you guys just have such a great attitude. It's challenging and amazing, and the amount of stuff you get done is just incredible. I mean, it's really admirable, which is why I like having you around. Because Andrew helped.
We may not always be positive.
Yeah, why not?
Our neighbors may say something different. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, every now and again.
Yeah. I had a question. Does Disney have like an ADA board, like full of Imagineers that when they bring them in for a ride? Okay.
But it's new.
It's like 3 years old?
3 or 4
okay.
years old.
Wow, okay.
So as they're making all these new rides, they are thinking about, like, I mean, obviously some you can't go back and retrofit. It's probably just too difficult. But the new rides, I mean, are they all going to have something like that? Because that's awesome.
Well, we're hoping.
Yeah, a lot of them have a swing door, but if you have, like, in the back seat, it opens up a little wider so you could transfer in to the seat.
Right.
But a lot of people in wheelchairs, if it's a step down, like Pirates, you have to step down into the vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
The same with even Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. They could make that accessible, but they don't, because he can get onto Figment by going into a special car, and they could have a special car for that, but they don't.
What about rides?
Because there's nothing on that ride that he could not be hooked in or any wheelchair strapped in and not fly around like when you're dancing or whatever. So
Gotcha.
they just have chosen not to have that option.
What about Rise of the Resistance? Does that have a?
No, I have to lift him in and slide him in.
Okay.
But they're good because they put us offline in a different room to get on, and the people around us know it's going to take us a little while to load, but you're not missing anything. And then unloading is not a problem. He can also get on to Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
They have a special ADA car.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a little wider, but I still have to transfer him into the seat. And that's one where I asked our Imagineer friend, I said, so if you just had a strap that came up like they have on Soarin', like for little kids, so that he can't slide when it's moving, because you can't control what it is, but they have a strap that goes through the seatbelt. I'm like, that would just be ideal. So we don't know if that's happened yet, but I put the request in.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that would be
easy.
Right. Really simple to take care of.
Yeah. And again, it's things that I wouldn't have thought of if I didn't have Andrew. So
Right.
we adapt a lot of stuff at home to make it work.
And that kind of brings us back to cruising. So cruising really, I mean, is it easier to go on a cruise than it is to go to the parks?
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't really have to leave the ship if we don't want to. We don't have to figure out how we're going to get from point A to point B. We can get to dinner very easily. We don't have to get on a bus or load up our own car. Because even taking a bus at Disney, they can only take two ECVs or wheelchairs.
Oh, really?
So if you're the third one, you have to wait again. Or even getting on the Skyliner, the monorail, everything takes a little extra time. But definitely the buses take more time. So you always have to factor in the extra 45 minutes to get somewhere, where the cruise, once you're on there, you're good. But I take him off and we do things. We don't stay on the ship. He's been to the Mediterranean.
Yes.
He's been to Greece, Turkey, Italy, Malta, where else? France, a bunch of places. Norway, we did a 7-night there, and then the northern Baltic, those countries. So he's even been to Russia and stuff, all in his wheelchair. And we got off and did things and went to like an opera at night, and we made it work.
So what other cruise lines have you been on?
None with me.
No, he's been on Royal.
But
Royal.
I don't count that.
Yeah, it was not good. Yeah.
Oh.
And he was a lot younger, but it wasn't our, as my daughter would say, vibe.
Right.
It was just too, not that we're old fuddy-duddies, but it was just too heavily partied for us. So and casinos.
So when I came back from the cruise on the Wish, I had a perfect time. I mean, I have no complaints. Everything was wonderful, but I didn't really feel like it was something I was dying to do again. Right. And I was talking to Becky Menken from MEI Travel, and she said, well, then you just haven't found your ship. Like she's like, there is a cruise for everyone. But you just didn't, you got to find the right trip. Like even Royal Caribbean has a cruise that you would like, but you have to find the right thing. And we had a great time. I mean, it was awesome. The group aspect of it was amazing. I mean, I have no complaints, but we haven't been back because I think I'm so addicted to the parks. I may have a problem is actually what's
well, you need to go on the Treasure.
Yeah, I gotta see
because that is just awesome. I mean, I don't like the layout of the ship, but the spaces are just incredible. And we've been on it twice, and I don't feel like we've seen everything yet.
Oh,
and that's
wow.
14 nights we've been on Treasure. That's how much. It's just cool.
I mean, that's pretty incredible to have a ship that I mean, I want to see that Haunted Mansion lounge so badly. I was kind of disappointed. I saw a lot of pictures this week of the new Spaceship Earth lounge. And while it does look beautiful, I'm like, wouldn't this have been a great opportunity to put something like that on land and really make sure no one could ever get into it, but it was there if we wanted to?
And the other thing with the cruises, especially with Andrew, the crew members remember him. So he has his own little fan base on the cruises, and then they move from ship to ship. So you'll be somewhere and like, oh, hey, I remember you from, the Magic, and we're on the Treasure or something. And it's just, it's very heartwarming for me that they remember him and he chats with them and stuff. So,
well, I mean, he's kind of a spectacular person, right? Even if he wasn't in a wheelchair. I mean, the guy's affect is always, he's a celebrity. And I don't.
Yeah. So it's nice that they, remember you from cruise to cruise. And we were not wearing name tags. So, they kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
They have them on, but we don't. Because I don't wear a lanyard, so nobody knows who we are. So.
Oh.
Except the Magic Band.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
they know where you are.
Yeah.
When you handed out magnets last time, right?
What?
Or pins. I got a pin from you, I think, last on the Wish.
And he needs new ones now.
I need new ones to because my logo's from.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I have now mine's a collector's item.
Yeah, because one thing he didn't mention was he wrote for WW Radio Blog, and so did I. And Andrew did it for like 10 years. And we still will if he needs something written, but he was Disney on Wheels for Lou for the longest time.
Right.
And would do a lot of accessibility, getting on and off the ride. So that's how a lot of people know him, is also from writing for Lou and doing videos. And so.
And you do, I mean, Vanessa, your Facebook posts are awesome. I really enjoy reading those. I know people, we've talked about this before, how the internet can be such a place that with so much acrimony and everyone's got an opinion. I posted something at the Contemporary today and someone attacked it. I'm just like, okay, but most of my feed is really good. And I really enjoyed, they're very thorough vlogs, right? They're very thorough posts and I love them.
Mm-hmm.
But not just because I know who's there. Like I enjoy the stuff. It's fun. Makes me happy.
I don't post much, but
not in a while. I haven't seen anything in a while.
No, we've been doing stuff. I just haven't had time. So. A lot going
Tell
on.
me about it.
No problem.
Yeah.
And Andrew, did you want to announce?
I think one thing with going back to when you asked about the different ships in which he liked, people should know, like, the problem we don't like about like the Treasure or the Wish class is how the hallways to get to the staterooms are set up. They only have 2 banks of elevators, but the halls go in and out. I mean, you're constantly making turns. Even on the Magic or the Fantasy and Dream, remember the first 2 classic ones, Magic and Wonder, they're pretty much straight hallways. So once you get going, you don't have to like, oh no, I got to turn right, turn left, go, oh, somebody coming around the corner. It's really tricky on the new ships. And we always are in the back of the ship, is where the accessible
that's where the
rooms
accessible,
that we like are.
Oh, right.
So
I got
you're
lost.
constantly going up and down the hallways.
I got lost several times on the Wish. It was very confusing.
Yeah.
And then you wander for a long, long way and then realize you have to turn around and come back because you're nowhere near your room and the numbers are going in a different direction.
Right. You're on the wrong side of the ship.
Yeah, I definitely want to go on one of the smaller. I mean, I think if I went, I would have to go on the Treasure. I'm not sure I could not do that, but I do want to go on one of the smaller ships because everyone, I mean, that we talked to seem to just love just the layout with the central elevator and then moving from there.
Yeah.
Karen's asking.
What?
No, go ahead. Shoot.
The bathrooms on the ship or at the. Well, okay. So in general, yes, Karen, the bathrooms at Disney World are a lot better.
Yeah.
They've made adult, more accessible areas for going to the bathroom. And even on their private island, especially on Lookout Key, which just opened last year, we've been there twice already. They have a fully adult accessible changing facility room. And I cried when we went in. I was like, oh my God, I'm taking videos. And I was just like, I can't believe they finally are doing, this is what, it's like what they have at the airports now. Like MCO has changed their bathrooms over. And there's like, somewhere for adults and stuff. And it's, not just for a baby or, because sometimes he's got to get out of the chair and,
Right.
So, yeah. No, they've made it a lot better. I never had at the parks. Yeah, definitely the parks, and they're putting more in as they're renovating them. Is what I've been told for the bathrooms.
All right. So which island do you guys like better?
Go first.
I like them both for different reasons.
You're like Lou. You have these lawyer answers. No direct answer, but I'll tell you why I like each one. All right, what do you like? What do you like about each island?
Well, for Castaway, the closest to get to the island. But for Lookout, the
pier.
The pier and stuff.
Well, and he probably likes Lookout Key for the aspect that they have a lot of boardwalks and it's very accessible.
Yeah.
They've been slowly
compared to both
more and more of it as we've been there. It's just a work in process still. They're putting more shade in, but they have a Junkanoo show, which is pretty much accessible because they do have ramps everywhere.
But
you got to know, you got to plan ahead. Like, okay, what's going to happen? Where do I need to go? How do I get down there? So you can see, as long as you talk ahead of time to the crew members, they'll tell you. We walked to the lighthouse twice on Lookout Key, and it was not easy because it's a lot of gravel or limestone, whatever it is they have on the island. Very bumpy.
Oh, yeah.
But we make it work. Yeah. Where Castaway's been there long enough that there's a lot of paths, and we have our own little routine we do, I guess is what we should say.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But they even Lookout, they have the accessible ramps down to the beach.
But they don't. All of them don't go down to where they're supposed to be.
So you get to the bottom of the ramp or somewhere and you're like, well, this isn't accessible to the beach. Even they need to put like at the top of the ramp, like no beach access or something. Or there's when you get to the bottom, there's like a 2-foot drop or 1.5 depending because of how the tide washes the sand and stuff.
Mm.
I think they're trying to work on that a little bit, but it's pretty much accessible everywhere there. They have changed some of even the soda machines and stuff on the ship and on the island where there's buttons below for wheelchairs to use. So you can put your cup down and run it from below versus having to reach up and press, I want the Diet Coke. You just have to figure out know which button to push.
Oh, right. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's really weird. But it's something they've done. I mean, they probably just had ordered that part of the machine, and now it's on all. I don't know, did Castaway have it?
No,
but the ships have it, and Lookout Key had that. I personally like Castaway Key best, but it's just because we've been there like 30 times.
Yeah,
so.
Right. So how many?
Been there,
how many accessible rooms are there on like the Treasure? Like,
oh, I had that number. They have more on that one, maybe 30.
Okay.
But now they have some of them are considered in concierge, so we do not go concierge. I'd rather go on 2 or 3 cruises. I do price them out. I'm like, no, still can go on more cruises if I don't. And I'm not going to sit in a lounge. I will experience a ship. That's why I'm there. If I want that experience, I'm going to go to a resort somewhere and be pampered, not on a ship. So when we booked ours, I was so nervous because I know a lot about Disney and knew nothing about not just Disney cruises, but any kind of cruising. So I was really, and I'm not a nervous guy, but I was very nervous about getting on the ship and you research and you overread and you get nervous, but I would have booked concierge just for the separate, like gangplank, like it's having my own place to get on the ship. I would have done it. And I'm so glad I didn't because it was so expensive. And it doesn't matter. It was gone so fast anyway. I didn't even have an opportunity to book it. So, but I'm with you. I'd rather go on 2 cruises and like you're saying, at a nice resort and go get pampered. But all of the ships have an inside accessible, a porthole, a veranda. They have larger verandas also, like in the back of the ship. Those tend to be the bigger rooms. I will say that on the Wish class, which right now includes the Wish Treasure and will be the Destiny, there are some ones with just a porthole that actually, when you walk in, there is a pole right near the bathroom and that. Because I walk by, I'm like, I am making note of that room. We are never staying in that room because you would constantly have to try to get past this column that's right there. And even if you were trying to walk as a normal person to go to the bathroom at night, you're going to hit that column. And
why would they?
I don't
do
know.
that?
It's structurally how they did it. Because when on the Magic, they reconfigured one room and took out a secret stairwell on deck 8. It's the only one that'll sleep 5. And because they made the room larger, they had to leave this structural pole there, and they put a thing around it. And I complained because I walked into it a couple times, and they actually put reflectors on it for me, like glow dark in the dark things. I don't know if they're still on, but I was like, I can't find this pole, and we were going to be on for 14 nights. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, do those rooms fill up? I mean, do you get a lot of accessible folks on there?
Yes. Sometimes, they'll give those to the guarantee people if they don't sell those out, but it depends on the itinerary and the time of the year. But I'll tell you, because we like to go on the maiden voyage and some of the earlier ones, our agent we are her first person, I believe, that she books because she knows that those will go fast. And I give her a list of, here's my top 15 rooms I want in the order that I want them, and even though we're Pearl, we might not get the room we really want to, but she's always been successful, and they do sell out.
Oh, wow.
Because again, there's only, I think on the Magic class, there might only be 18 or 20. I mean, there's not a lot when you think of how many staterooms there really are. It's not a very big percentage of accessible rooms. And I think they have cracked down. Yeah. There's 25 cruises and over. So you're the first ones to book when things open.
That's awesome.
We were booking things last night.
Oh yeah, for our next cruise, we were doing our activities last night. But even when the itineraries come out, we are the first ones to choose and stuff. So.
Well, you deserve it. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, paid enough. I think I own maybe that little piece of the porthole over there.
Right.
After 33 cruises, I'm sure we've paid for something. Yeah. But we really enjoy cruising. It's, like I said, for Andrew and I to go, I mean, I'm married, my husband, somebody's got to pay the bills, but he enjoys it, but he has a hard time relaxing on them. Where Andrew and I, we have our own kind of thing we like to do, and we enjoy the group cruises and talking to people and sitting with everybody at dinner, and so it's a great experience for us which you can't do at the park. It's really hard to have a nice dinner and sit down, or hey, let's go do trivia together. There's a lot on the ship you can do with people. We have a friend, Nicholas, who all right, we're doing trivia with you because he's really knowledgeable at this. Andrew knows that. We have a system of who you want to be with. Things.
I hadn't, as you say that, I hadn't even thought about that, but it's true because, so my brother is younger than, and my sister, they're both younger than me and have young kids, and they're getting ready to plan a Disney trip, and they're like, don't you want to go with us? I'm like, no, not at all. It'd be terrible. I can barely get the 5 of us to go in one direction, much less, everybody else. I mean, and if I did go with a big group to the parks, it would be see you at dinner. We're going to go do our thing. We'll see you at night. But on a cruise, you could really participate in everything all together, and it would be really easy to do. I mean, you're all at the same table. I mean, that was the great thing about, and I felt very lucky because, we all love Lou so much, but I got to sit right beside him, and it was great, and then now we were 5, so they gave us our own table, but everyone talked and moved around, and, there were a lot of us, 100 and however many. I mean, it's crazy how many folks go on those trips, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and what we tend to do at dinner, because we'll be with a table of maybe 8 people, is we all kind of rotate so you're not sitting in the same seat. So you're talking with different people. So you're getting to know everybody that's sitting with you, which is nice. Or, you finally meet somebody you've been chatting with online, or, even with Karen and her son, Sean, to finally meet them and chat and have fun.
Right.
And there's some other ones that, you learn all about them, and you can have more fun and friends and go do things and help them out, or they help you and stuff. So,
well, again, here we go again. If only someone would tell Lou how great his community is, but he really has, inspired so many people, and he is the kindest, most genuine person you'll ever meet. He really does. And he doesn't like to take credit for it, but he should, because he's brought together a lot of people who really seem to like each other,
Yeah.
We
wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Right. It's unusual, right? It's not normal for what he's got going on, and it's really cool. So if you haven't done a group cruise with WDB Radio, you've never done a cruise, it was a great way to dip our toes, right? Because we did some activities, and then sometimes we just relaxed. And then my wife and I actually got a spa pass, and that was really nice. So we could disappear a little bit every now and again.
I will say on that cruise, that spa, the rainforest, that was really nice.
It's really nice. I
could spend the whole week up there.
Right? That could be the whole cruise for me. That was just awesome. And they have different flavored, that sounds weird, showers. And then it was like they had 5 different showers that were not like you go take a shower in, but go in your bathing suit. And then they had these warm chairs to relax in, and these swinging beds, and 2 hot tubs, which sounds like you wouldn't want to get in a hot tub in August in the Bahamas, but we did every day, and it was awesome.
And then they had that cold room. Don't forget about that.
Right. The cold room, and then a sauna. But it was nice because everything, I assume it's always like that, but it was very crowded. It wasn't like a sit by a pool and relax kind of thing. It was a lot of energy, and even the adult area in the back of the ship, which I thought was beautiful. You were kind of crammed in next to, 500 of your new favorite friends. We're all right there.
But I will say we've been on the Wish since the beginning. I think I've been on 7 or 8 times, and it's changed because a lot of people are repeaters now. So it's not like, oh my gosh, I got to go to the adult area and see what that's all about. Where I think when we were on the August 1st, so maybe the 4th cruise or something of the ship, 4th or 5th, and it's like everybody just wants to still see it because they didn't want to go on the Maiden and pay for all that. But I think now it's like, oh, I've been there. We don't even go to the back sometimes. We'll hang maybe on the side or somewhere else. But to get a wheelchair back there is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's accessible, there's just too many people. But again, I think it's calmed down a little bit because it's not so new. It's still new for people, but again, a lot of repeaters.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I lost some audio. I could hear you, but it was getting really faint.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So what do you guys do? 3 cruises a year?
No. Maybe 4 to 5.
Oh, just sorry.
Yes. Yeah,
yeah, it's a lot.
And we do 7 nights. We've done a couple 3-nighters. I don't really care for those. 4 is a good number. 5 nights. But we've really picked it up the past couple of years just because it's something for us to do. We need to get out of Ohio in the winter, or we've now switched to going on a cruise for our birthdays, both in October. But then we still have to go to the parks because it's right there.
Because it's Disney. It's right there, so.
Yeah. And we've also taken Brightline, which is a train from MCO over to Fort Lauderdale, which is a new, easy way to be able to get on those ships down there. It takes a little bit of work, but we make it manageable.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. Do you guys so you guys will go out of Canaveral or Fort Lauderdale, huh?
Yeah, we've done Miami, but that wasn't fun.
No.
I'm glad they don't go out of there anymore. We've gone out of New Orleans, Vancouver, New York City.
And did I just see they're going to be doing Galveston coming up?
Yeah, Galveston 27.
Well, they've been doing it, but only seasonally and only a few cruises. But now Galveston's making a commitment with Disney that we don't know if they're going to go all year, but it's going to be a longer commitment than they have now. And part of the problem is it gets fogged out in Galveston, so it really messes up the itineraries.
Oh,
So they
wow.
might be watching that time of year of when they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can be delayed by like 4 hours coming in, which just throws the whole thing off. And if you have a
Right.
flight, and so yeah.
So what's your favorite port to leave from?
Canaveral.
Yeah.
No. It's nice.
It's
It was
nicest.
It was very easy to do. Again, I worried for no reason. Although, I mean, we had to get COVID tests.
Oh,
So
yeah, that was terrible.
that was not fun. And actually,
It's
we
so
got
you'll like it.
we got lucky because we were driving back up. I think, I don't know. I talked to somebody on the phone, and the guy recommended going to like this parking lot off internet on like Erlo Bronson or somewhere. I literally pulled into a parking lot, and there was a trailer, and that's where we got our COVID test. But they had them back in like 25 minutes. It was really painless. My youngest had to go back and get hers done again, but it was easy peasy. But I was nervous about customs. I was nervous about everything. I don't know why. I just was.
Well, and now customs, if you have a passport, it is a breeze at Port Canaveral. I think Fort Lauderdale is the same way too,
Mm-hmm.
where it only works if you have a passport, but you just walk up and it scans you and you just walk on. You don't even have to see the customs person at all.
Oh,
But if you have a
wow.
birth certificate,
Cool.
you have to stop and go through all that with your ID and the birth certificate.
Yeah,
So
that's pain.
Disney finally is on board. The other cruise lines have had it for a while, but Disney finally got it maybe a year or 2 years ago or something. So you just literally walk off the ship. You don't have to, you kind of wait in line, but it's just more for the people as you stand, this little stand here, stand here, stand here. And it's adjustable so it can scan down to Andrew or kid's height, the little eye
wow.
recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So always recommend a passport to people. I've seen enough people taken off a ship because of something happening that if you don't have a passport, even in the Bahamas, it's hard to get back to the United States.
Oh, really?
Even though you don't technically need one, it's highly recommended you have one.
That's interesting. When we came back through customs, they didn't even, I thought they were going to look through our suitcases. They did nothing. They just looked at us and waved you right through. There was nothing to
Well,
it.
they're scanning everything also. They know what's coming on and off.
Right.
They scan you going in. They're probably doing it coming off. Because every suitcase going on is scanned. That's how you know things have been taken off or taken out when they confiscate it.
We must have been in the Keys the week before. And so we came back up and I had my guitar with me and they would not let, it was a contraband item. Don't bring your guitar. And it was acoustic guitar, but I'd taken it down because, I don't play in front of people, but I do like to play guitar. And
especially on the beach or something.
Right, exactly. I wasn't going to play it in my room, but I couldn't leave it in the car because it was too hot, And so they're like, "I'm sorry, sir, you can't have this," which I thought was really
Did they
funny.
keep it for you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They kept it somewhere for me, put a little tag on it. They gave it to us when we got back. It was easy peasy, but it was odd to have to give up my guitar. I'm with the band, right? They didn't buy that at all.
No.
All right. So give me like your best cruise tip. Like what's something that really people wouldn't know, but makes a big, big difference? Passport, obviously being one, that's a good one.
For me, I always tell people, especially if it's their first cruise, I'm like, make sure you book a placeholder. It's very easy to do now. So what a placeholder is you pay $250 deposit. It does not go against your cruise folio. It's a separate charge to your credit card. You get a $250 charge. It's good for 2 years from the exact date you book it. So say, it's today, you have until June 1st or June 2nd of 2027 to use it on a cruise. You can get up to 10%. You get 10% off. There are some blackout dates, and you cannot use them on maiden voyages or for concierge. But that's the only discount you're really going to get with Disney is a 10% discount. And it's pretty flexible and easier to use. And they've actually now fixed it so you can see it in their either online or in the app of like how many you have, when do they expire? Where before it was like, because I use an MEI agent, I'm like, I can't remember, when does that one expire? I forgot to write it down, or, have I used this one? And now you can actually see your placeholders, and it's very easy. You do not have to book while you're on the ship. You can hold it until the last minute and use it. You just have to sail by that date in 2 years. So,
and you buy those while you're on the ship.
Yes, and you can. If you walk off, too bad. You can't get it.
Okay.
And I always say, don't book it the first day. Just remember to do it, not the debarkation day, but maybe the last day while you're packing your suitcase. Make sure you've done it because it takes a little while to cycle through. And always take a screenshot of the confirmation number from the Navigator app. So if there is a problem, which we've had, you can say, well, it showed me that I had it, but I'm not receiving anything from them.
Oh, that's good. That's good thinking.
Talking Disney IT. So, there's that. That's a whole nother podcast.
Right. Yeah. We'll bring you back next week for that. That's awesome. I didn't even think about that, but that's really smart. Because then for $250, and so you're paying $250 for the placeholder. It does not go towards your cruise. Yes,
it does. You can, then when you go to use your placeholder, it is put down as part of your deposit.
Oh, okay.
If the cruise requires a higher deposit than $250,
right,
you just pay the difference. So I had one where I had to pay another like $300 for the deposit because I said more people than Andrew and I. And then if you do not use it within the 2 years, it's automatically refunded to that credit card. So you don't lose it. You actually get it back. Yeah. Where I think some other cruise lines I've heard, like your deposits you can't get back or different things, but Disney will give that back. But it's, again, one of the only ways you can save money on a Disney cruise. The only other way is as soon as they announce the itineraries, and right now they're doing around 18 months out, it's book it that first time that you can actually do it because they just get higher and higher. The closer you are to the cruise, unless you're going guarantee, which is a whole nother way to get a room, it just gets higher, the price. I watch mine sometimes to see, did it get, sometimes it could be over $1,000 more than what you paid for on opening day.
Yeah,
and then with booking,
there's no last minute show up at the dock and they'll let you on in an empty room kind of thing.
Well, some people, I guess they'll do a Florida resident discount and do that. Yeah. But
and cast members, right? Don't they do a discount for cast members where you can
but you have to have the time off and be able to be that flexible. I mean, we met some older gentleman. He's like, "Oh, I always have a suitcase packed. I'm ready to go. I'm on the list." And we have a friend who's in the ex-military, and he's in a wheelchair like Andrew, and has his dog, and he's on a list, and he'll get called when they want to fill it, or they've got an accessible room that he could go in at a military rate.
Oh,
and
that's really cool.
That is cool.
I don't know how to get on the list, but there's a list. So.
Right, somewhere that's what we need to find.
This list.
Yeah, I mean it's not for everybody, but I think sometimes they just want to fill the ship if it's not filling. Yeah. What's your tip, Andrew?
Just be nice to the crew members. Sometimes they can become your best friends.
I love it. That's a good advice for everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can steal Jeremy Stein's "Be Nice to Cast Member" T-shirt. Be nice to crew members.
And they work so hard, you know. Even the ones who aren't tipped and they're just salaried, they're working all day. They hardly have any time off. They're living in small accommodations. And I rarely have ever seen one not happy. They know how to turn that switch when they're on stage. And, it's just like at the parks. They got the mirror behind the door. And as you're walking into the park, you're on stage and you got to put it out there. You can do whatever you want behind that wall. But once you're on the stage, as they call it,
Yeah, that's exactly right. And as you say that, we did have, from every single person we met was on every single second we saw them, the people who cleaned our rooms, our waiters who follow you around. I mean, it really was an amazing customer service experience.
Yeah. And we've had a few issues with servers and they're quick to fix it. So I'm not normally a complainer, but there was one cruise where I just couldn't, after 3 nights, I couldn't take it anymore. And it was a 7th night. I'm like, I can't even come to the dining room. And they fixed it for us. They moved us. But I gently did it and didn't make a scene. I just talked to the head waiter and he made magic happen. And then we saw him again. And
I'm the Luke who
yeah,
we
the treasure.
saw them.
So he was our head waiter again. And the one night he's like, "You're not ordering dinner?" I go, "No, I just want a hamburger and fries." And next thing I know, I had a hamburger and fries in front of me because it wasn't on the menu. So, they remember you. And if you're nice, they're nice back, So it's, we see people at the parks that we have seen a lot and stuff. So,
Do you go to the parks every time you come down for a cruise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And more times.
Yeah, because what we'll do is we'll stay at a resort, especially if we're going out Port Canaveral, and then we'll use Disney Cruise Line transfer. It's expensive. It's $45 per person each way, so $90 round trip. But they take your luggage at 7 a.m. You don't put it outside your door. It's just inside your resort room with your tags on it. It disappears. They knock it just disappears. And you don't see it till it's outside of your stateroom. So I don't have to deal with getting the luggage from my room to transportation. I don't have to worry about how am I going to arrange for a special transfer for him. You request a Lyft bus and they have them. Mm-hmm. Now the way it works with Disney Cruise Line transfers, you're one of the first people to board, or you get an earlier group. You're not going to get group 1 or 2 or 3 because that's for concierge and Pearl, but you can get there by 10:15 and probably on the ship by 11:30. Where if you're a first timer, you might not get on the ship till 1:30 if you go by yourself. And the same getting back off. They'll take you to either the resorts if you book it that way, which we have done, or back to the airport. So to me, it's expensive, but how would I get an Uber? I'd have to I can't even rent an accessible car down there. They just don't have them. Or if they do, they're so cost prohibitive for a day.
Right. No, I mean, there's a difference between overpriced and expensive, right? And I can live with expensive sometimes. And that just sounds like it's worth every penny. Much like most of Disney.
And they take care of Andrew,
Why wouldn't they?
It's a little longer for us to get on and off, but they're very good at it. They're nice. They keep you entertained the whole way. And, you're watching Disney movies and trivia and stuff. And if you've got a good bus driver, he'll let you know when you're going to see the ship and different stuff like that. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, and Karen's right. I mean, Disney gives a great manual for accessibility in the parks and a list of quiet places, because we're going to have her on to talk a little bit about that, about maneuvering the parks, with the DAS and I mean, the amount of stimulation that goes on there, right? And look, we all get caught up in our own things at times and forget to kind of walk in someone else's shoes or look around and read the temperature of the room. So, I'm sure I've been as guilty as anyone, but I think Disney does a good job of reminding us, that there's more than one type of person in this world who needs different things, and they start providing it, which makes me love this community and this company, and another reason why I keep going back year after year, month after month.
Well, and I think Disney is changing some stuff, because we were just at Disneyland for D23 Expo in, I don't even know what it was, August. And they, in this whole, Toontown, they do have a quiet area, for either moms with little kids who need a break, or, we went and chilled over there because it was quiet. There was less hubbub. Kids were kind of moving around, but there was a lot of places to sit. There was a lot of shade, but it was built to be quiet. They don't, it was a nice space. There was light spaces, darker spaces, whatever you needed, it was there. And I was like, wow, we need this in every park and every, it was amazing. But it had just opened last year. So I'm hoping they incorporate that. And I'll get with Karen about that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. Andrew, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, bud.
Vanessa,
sorry
we
I took over.
Your own camera. No, it's
you're
fine.
Good.
We don't really have a time limit. I just try to be respectful of everyone's time. Although every time I start these things, I'm like, this is either going to last 18 seconds or 4 hours. I feel like there's never going to be, because I mean, that's the whole point, right? Is we all want to sit around and talk about Disney all the time. And, and so I'm trying to provide another spot. All right.
we
Well,
appreciate
it's easy to find us, but mostly Disney. Andrew still editing video. Mylan?
Yes.
I started over again.
Yeah.
My biggest critic.
You-
I hate.
You need to get with Andrew Prince because he will push you to do it better. And one of the things that Andrew's really helped me with is he gives me real feedback, because I feel like people will go, "Oh yeah, that's nice. Oh yeah, it's great." Andrew will tell you, "Hey, you need to change this. You should do this differently." And it's worked
like
and
that.
it's good, right? So he and I text back and forth. And so if you like anything on the YouTube channel, it's probably because of Andrew.
Yeah, and I do his editing. He tells me what to do, but I'm the one physically kind of doing it. Just the way some of it has to be done manually, he can't do it. But
Oh, right.
I'm like, I'm doing it. And he's like yelling at me.
I bet.
And then we start laughing, but
Well,
because he watches all how to do all this stuff. And I mean, I'll be honest, even for editing, sometimes we have to go on YouTube it to see that. How do you do that? Because what do we use? Final Cut, you know, and they've changed stuff. So
and they change it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's working. Don't, I just learned how to do this. Now you're making it totally different. I know, it's funny. And then I use Filmora to do my videos, and I updated and they reversed the scroll wheel button. I have no idea why. So I'm always used to scrolling down, and they made it go the other direction. I thought I was going to go bananas because it becomes that muscle memory. You know, you're doing it over and over. And if you haven't checked out Andrew's channel, you should. Accessible Adventures with Andrew, not by Andrew. And it's really cool. I enjoyed the ice skating very much. And I told you should wear that cowboy hat all the time because it suits you. But I'm sure you could reach out to him if you have any questions, or through me, and I'll get you with Andrew, because, I mean, there's a lot to know about traveling that way. I hadn't planned on talking about accessibility, but obviously when you have an expert, you lean into it, right? And that's what he is. So,
Yeah. Well, we paved the way, I think, for a lot of people, or helped people understand and make it more enjoyable, more magical for them from our trial and error.
right.
Because, you know, he's been going to the parks since he was in kindergarten, and he's now 27. So you can see, and we've been sailing for 18 years. So
Wow.
We've seen the evolution of things.
Well, if you run into Andrew, he will definitely, you will enjoy meeting him. He's a bright spark, and we love him. So thank you so much for donating your time and coming. We really appreciate it. And come back anytime.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
All right, guys,
Thank
we will
you.
see you next week.
Great, thank you.
Good night.
Bye.